house in Baltimore. You see, period. I always forget what a weird week it is, like how the rumors start, this tampering, pre-tampering, real tampering, post-tampering, and by the weekend, lots of people have seats. Ryan Van Bibber covers all things NFL. He is the editor at SB Nation. He's usually out at the Combine. I'm usually out at the Combine. Indianapolis got 2 less tourists than you and me, 3 if you count Luke. Ryan Van Bibber can be followed at SB Nation as well as just RVB. On Twitter. Dude, it's it's a free-for-all, especially when there's this much money, $1 billion of available cap money. This makes agents salivate now, doesn't it?
Oh, man, and then you throw in these teams. I mean, there's a dozen teams with $40 million in cap space, and you look at somebody like the Browns that have $100 million. So
they can literally afford anything they want on the menu. Like, they can order off the top shelf if they choose to, right?
If they want to, although, like, I see now the rumors today that Terrell Pryor might, the rumors this week that Terrell Pryor might walk away and because they don't want to pay him the kind of money that the number 1 receivers get. It's like, oh, Browns, don't do this to yourself.
Well, they're going to screw up the first pick. I mean, I saw all this stuff on this kid, and I'm like, this poor kid taking his shirt off, and he jumping higher than any man has ever jumped, and louder and stronger. And I'm like, if the Browns draft him, he might suck. I mean, when it's all said and done, that's been the track record. And look, we go after the underwear Olympics every year. This has been a little bit more of a strange year because I don't feel any cream rising to the top. I mean, this time last year was Laramie Tunsil. We all know where that went, right?
Yeah, exactly. Up in a cloud of smoke.
It did, indeed.
Yeah, this was the Combine this year was really low-key. I mean, it wasn't like, there wasn't a lot of, you didn't have those, like, sort of, the guys that you just have to go see because their personality sort of commands. I mean, you go back and you think about like when Manziel was there, Winston, or some of these guys that, were just sort of, you had to attend their press conference no matter what. And there wasn't anybody like that this year. And nobody really like with the drills and stuff. Nobody like, nobody like that you expected to run fast ran slow, and nobody that you expected to run slow ran fast. It was just sort of like, yeah, this is the stuff we knew already. It's Myles Garrett is really athletic. We knew that. So.
Well, yeah, and, to your point, even the Manti Te'os and even, look, I think Deshaun's going to be a hell of a quarterback in the league, and I've just watched him run around and play at the highest level against the best competition, so what do I know? But it is fascinating that the quarterback solutions that I heard mostly coming out of Indianapolis last week had nothing to do with the kids there other than Mitch and Mitchell, that it was more about Romo and more about where's Cutler going and more about who's taking Tyrod Taylor now and more about how much are they paying Kirk Cousins. I mean, all of these Osweiler. I mean, all of these names that are out there, it feels more like, people are thinking more about Kaepernick than they are about Trubisky right now for some reason.
Yeah, it does. And I think all the quarterbacks in this year's draft, I mean, like you said with Watson, we've seen what he can do. He's a good quarterback, and we know that. But I think they're all sort of, everybody seems to be a little more cautious about them and understands that, the best bet for these guys, they're not Winston, they're not Mariota. The best bet for these guys is to bring them in, let them sit for a year. I mean, let them do an apprenticeship in the NFL and not throw them out there and burn them out and, have them all broken down and battered and turned into the next David Carr.
Or the next Johnny Manziel, and I find it fascinating that we went through this exercise a couple of years ago, and tried to separate the good from the bad, the good eggs and the bad eggs, like Willy Wonka, and still things happen, and certainly getting thrown out of a hospital and sent home at the NFL Combine, not a real good look at the first job interview there, son.
No, it's really not, and the funny thing about this kid Reuben Foster too is. He went to Alabama. He has an Auburn tattoo, so I think the Wonderlic scores.
We're in a very conflicted society here, dude. We got alternative facts everywhere. Trust me. I mean, we really do. I mean, I have you been on the internet, Ryan? I think you have. He's out at SB Nation. Just RVB is the way to find him. As we enter this period, it really is about the silly money. And as we sit here in Baltimore in our little bubble, and I've heard the Cowboys crying the blues, 18 free agents this week, and the Browns have all the money and the Patriots have all the gold and, other teams have all the draft picks. So, we hear all of this. The Ravens don't have a lot of money. They didn't win a lot of games. They have a team that feels like on the field's in some sort of a transition that they're trying to hasten. And then you see the Nick Mangolds and the Brandon Marshalls and the Torrey Smiths hit the street. This is a crazy week even by their standards, because I know for a fact Torrey Smith didn't know Torrey Smith was getting released this time last week.
Yeah, for sure. And this is, it's a good group of receivers for free agents this year, and you don't really see that very often. I mean, it wouldn't really be a Ravens type move, but man, how cool would that be to see them go after Alshon Jeffrey out there? I mean, to get that number one receiver. I know they have Perryman, but the injuries have been such an issue there. They have to kind of, you got to kind of wonder if,
when you say I know they have Perryman, well, what does that mean? Is that, seriously? I mean, I don't know if they know what that means. I mean, does it mean he's going to be an 85 catch guy or a 60 catch long guy? Is he going to catch a dozen touchdowns next year? Is he going to get on the field? That's the first step in all of this is health, right? And who you draft.
Absolutely. I mean, you want a guy. I mean, this kid's career's just been overshadowed by injuries, and it's kind of at the point now where you wonder if he can really. You can count on this guy for 16 games, 13 games even a year. And when you can't, you've got to have some contingency plans in place.
Well, the story of 8 and 8 around here is Matt Elam. It's Terrence Brooks. It's Brashad Perryman. And then more than that, this week is even a different kind of cautionary tale. Brandon Williams was the shining star of their draft a couple of years ago. He's going to become a very wealthy guy by sundown on Sunday. Ditto to Ryan Wagner or Ricky Wagner, who was a guy they drafted and found a home for, made him a starter. He's going to go out and get himself $7, $8, maybe $9 million of right tackle money. And so even when you draft the guys and it sort of works out, the Orioles will find this out with Machado next year, that, you then have to pay him at some point, and you either bet on him or bet against him. But usually when they go to the market, it doesn't bode well for the home team. The incumbent rarely wins that battle.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if the incumbent, if the incumbent had an advantage, they'd have signed him already by the time free agency opens.
Well, and we're out on the marketplace with all of these teams right now, and then you're a team like the Atlanta Falcons or the Dallas Cowboys that had so much prosperity until they didn't anymore. And, you get the bad. The only one with the warm fuzzies are the Patriots, and I know they were cheating. I'm just trying to figure out what they did,
Well, they pay everybody so dang low. It's almost unfair. It's almost an unfair advantage they have at the bargaining table. I mean, when you have a quarterback that can take less than market rate, and everybody else you can kind of twist their arms and bullying them into take less than they would make somewhere else just for the chance to play with the Patriots. It's almost like, man, come on.
Hey, maybe they're cheating at the salary cap. Let's look into that. Let's get an SB Nation investigative report going on that. I keep saying, and you're laughing, but Putin's got his ring. He does.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
That's a true story. I can verify that as not an alternative fact. That's a real fact. It's true. Maybe there's Russian intelligence involved in the Patriots. I'm not sure. Ryan Van Bibber's out at NFL. You guys are going to be busy as hell, right? I mean, there's nothing busier than being an NFL editor during this week, right?
Yeah, and free agency is the one that you can't really, the days the draft is going to be. But, man, free agency, you could be sitting around at 10 o'clock at night and huge news breaks. So, yeah, it's going to be a wild week here.
Well, a lot of agents on the prowl over the week in Indianapolis, and we'll see just how much money they're going to bring in. There's going to be a lot of paid people here this weekend. I'm just hoping the Ravens get the good end of all of this. We're all pulling for our teams here this week because we all lost in the end. It was the Patriots that won. All of us have the same just empty feeling that Jack Del Rio talked about last week. Ryan, great to have you on, man. We'll always check in with you. We'll be checking in at SB Nation as well, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
You got it. Ryan Van Bibber, just RVB, out on Twitter and at SBNation.com. You can find me in the Bahia Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device. Download the TuneIn Radio app. We come in crystal clear from wherever you are. Our text service is going to be live next couple days. I don't know what to tell you, folks. Just get on it. Sign up at WNST.net. It's free. It's easy. You'll get all the breaking news first. It's all brought to you by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. Dennis will be here on Thursday driving you home. London's on sale. Barry Trotz is coming to Baltimore on the 20th of this month. We got more details on that. We'll be swabbing for the Bone Marrow Registry and for There Goes My Hero. Whoo! I'm Nestor. This is WNST.net. I'm staying up late with the Caps and the Wizards and the Terps. And we never stop talking Baltimore sports.